2006 Hyundai Santa Fe that just came in on the hook. The owner believes that the fuel pump is not turning on. She said she went to the store, came out, turned on the car. She made it about, I don't know, just a few feet and it stalled out. She said it felt like it was getting no gasoline and that's why it stalled out. Ever since then, it would not start. Okay, so it just got towed in. First thing I want to do is go for the fuel pump relay, which is right here in the corner, and I already removed it. So it sits right there. Let's put a jumper relay in it and see if we can get this fuel pump to turn on or see what's going on with it. So it would appear that my little jumper right here does not fit inside of here. It's just the way it's designed. There's too much plastic around. You can't pop this in. Thanks, Hyundai. Okay, since it's windy out here and I can't be at two places at once, I pulled out the fuse for the fuel pump and I put it in my jumper here, and as you can see I got my current clamp connected to the scope. And basically whenever I apply, there's so much light here, whenever I apply power to the fuel pump through the relay, we should see a waveform of the fuel pump turning on. So let's go ahead and check that out. Sorry about the glare, there's just a lot of sun today and a lot of wind. Alright, so, and here's the thing, okay, on the relay side, on the load side, we got power on one side and we have a ground, indicating a ground going through the fuel pump, okay? So let me mute the sound for you guys so you can see we have our ground. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply power right now and go. And as you can see, we get no action on the fuel pump. I'm gonna do it once again and go. Again, nothing on the fuel pump. Okay, so next what I want to do is lift up the rear seat and go directly to the top of the fuel pump. Before I start removing the rear seat, I'm actually going to use the scanner to try to turn on the fuel pump. In case you're wondering why I just don't, the car won't even crank, and the reason for that is because this car is actually equipped with a breathalyzer because of a DUI. You have to breathe into the machine in order to get the car to crank over, I believe, and I don't want to mess with any of that stuff. So I'm trying to work around all of that and being able to try to crank the engine and all that stuff. You can see we got the fuel pump pulled up right here, so let's go ahead and hit start. And at this point it's nice and quiet inside the car, so we should be able to listen for the fuel pump. What's going on? Let's see. Stop. It was not doing that the first time. The first time it said succeeded, and it wasn't turning on the fuel pump, but I mean the test said succeeded, and now we just keep getting this failed. That's interesting. All right, it doesn't seem like I'm getting anywhere with this. I don't know if this little machine right here is prohibiting or, I don't know, restricting something from starting on this car or certain functions working. So let's just go ahead and pull the rear seat out and go directly to the fuel pump. Okay, so I had to remove the seat. It's just held in with 4 bolts. I had to remove both of them, so a total of 8 bolts. But we are directly at the fuel pump now. This is the harness. I've gone ahead and unplugged it. There is a power and a ground, and when we go on the ground side, see we have our ground, and it's going to be power side switched. So at this point I'm going to try to leave this just kind of sitting like that, and let's go ahead and turn the key in the run position and see if we get power back here. Now I've already tried putting power directly to the pump and the pump does not turn on. At that point we have a dead pump. It needs a new fuel pump, but we want to make sure we are getting power back here. Alright, so I'm going to put the key in, and all we have to do is listen for the beeping of the power probe indicating we have a fuel pump prime. And nothing. Let me make sure I'm making a good connection back there. Okay, so I cannot seem to get power back here when I put the key in the run position, but honestly I don't know if that's because of the blow test in here for the DUI system. So honestly I can't even rely on that. I can't say, oh yeah, we're supposed to have power here, because I don't know, with that system tied into it, I don't know what it's prohibiting, from running. But what we can do is, like I said, I already put power and ground to the pump. It does not turn on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath the car with a rubber mallet, start giving the fuel tank a few hits, and if we could get this pump to run, it's done deal. It needs a new pump. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it needs a new pump. Okay, so I tried hitting the tank from the bottom. I even tried hitting the pump directly from the top up here, you know, like hitting around the ring right here. And I was even hitting while I'm applying power to the pump, and still I cannot get it to turn on. Alright, so I think we are at a point where this pump has to come out and see what's going on with it. Alright, so I got the ring off, and in order to remove the fuel pump ring, you're going to need a tool like this. Okay, and it just goes right on here, locks in place, and it lets you twist the ring counterclockwise to unlock it. As you can see, I've already partially pulled out the fuel pump here. And what I could see is, hold on, let me get some light. I could see what looks like rust on the two terminals for the pump. You can see the corrosion that's building up down there. Now the tank is full. It's got, you know, either 3/4 or almost a full tank of gas. So yeah, it's looking like we just have a bad pump. Now, unfortunately, the owner of this vehicle does not have the money. It's like a $300 pump from AutoZone. If we get it from Rock Auto, it's like $200, but she still doesn't have the money for this, okay? And then including labor. So she wants to try replacing just the pump alone. Don't know how well that's gonna work out, if it'll work at all. But you know, I'm willing to work with people to help them save money if they want to just try to put a pump in it. But I don't know, I always recommend just replacing the entire assembly. But once I get this out, I'm gonna have a good look at it and see if there's anything we could do as far as replacing just a pump alone. Alright, so as you can see, I put this paper towel down and have a small container here, so when I lift out the fuel pump, whatever is dripping kind of goes into the container. Try to minimize the amount of fuel that we spill inside the car, if any, okay? But I noticed that at the bottom of the fuel pump, you can see there's another line connected, because this car actually has two pumps in it. So that line right there is going to run to the passenger side where the other pump is at. So what we want to do is disconnect it, but we don't want to lose it inside that tank filled with gasoline. So as you can see, I tied it up with a wire, and that way, even when it falls into the tank, when it's time to put the pump back into the car, we could just grab the wire and it's gonna fetch our line right there, so we don't gotta go digging into gasoline for that. Okay, so it turns out the wire wasn't really all that necessary, because you could just pull this out and kind of set it right here, but you never know if it's gonna fall in, so the wire is still very helpful. Now it sucks, you can see we dropped a little bit of debris inside of there. You know, if I were near my garage, I would have came in here with the air nozzle and blew all of this out before I took it apart, but I'm not. The car just got dropped off by a tow truck and it's just sitting on the street, so I don't have access to a air hose to blow that out. But honestly, or obviously, you know, you want to try to minimize the amount of debris that falls inside of there, because that's really not good. Alright, so the fuel pump is completely out, and time for a quick bench test. As you can see, I got my ground side connected, and I've disconnected the wires going to this connector up here, so we are testing directly at the pump. Alright, so I got my ground side over there, put power right here, and as you can see, or here, let's turn this off. Absolutely nothing. So it is 100% confirmed we have a dead pump, okay? And at this point, I'm not really concerned with us not getting power to the pump because of the whole DUI system that's integrated into the car. Honestly, I don't want to touch that. The owner said, here's some mouthpieces, brand new, so you could blow on it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. Honestly, I don't, okay? So this is why I went as far as this to confirm that it is a bad pump, because I just want to be able to put a new pump in this thing, and once I think it's ready to go, have the owner stop by. I'm sure she could stop by. It's the least they could do, right? Stop by, do the breathalyzer test, see if the car starts. If it doesn't, then leave it here. I'll figure out why there is no power going to the pump, okay? But one step at a time. So we need a new pump, and we're gonna see Honestly, I might end up having to tear this open to get the pump out of it, so if we could find a match. So I decided to grab the test light, and I want to test one more time for power here, but instead of putting the key in the ignition, we're just going to go straight to the fuel pump relay. We're going to energize that one more time, and let's see if this test light turns on. Great, so you guys just saw that we are getting power to the pump. It's simply, I think it has something to do with that DUI system, that it only lets the fuel pump prime once that system confirms that the car is okay to start. But as you can see, if we bypass the system by going directly to the relay, we get power here. So now I'm not worried about any of the wiring or anything. At this point, I know we could just put a pump in it and it'll be fine. So the owner just told me that the battery on the car is weak because she's been cranking and cranking and cranking, trying to get it to start, right? So the battery is weak, and what I want to do right now is pull the battery out of the car, bring it into the garage, and put it on a trickle charger overnight so that the battery is ready to go when we get the new fuel pump. Now, as far as the fuel pump, what's going on here is she decided to just buy the entire fuel pump assembly instead of just looking for a pump. But the thing is, she went on Amazon and found a complete assembly for $47. It's one of those situations where I have to be very clear with her that what you pay is what you get. And sure, this may get your car started right now, but don't be surprised if it fails in 5 or 6 months, okay? And she said that's fine. She needs the car going. So, you know, there's nothing else I could do besides recommending not getting one of those super cheap units, but it's at the end of the day, it's her decision, you know. So that's what I'm doing, and tomorrow the new pump is supposed to come in through Amazon. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the 2 screws holding on the battery. This was done in a pinch, right? Because she was having random no starts. So I found out that the battery terminals were loose even though they were completely tightened from right here. So it's what I did for her, and I told her we're gonna have to get this fixed the right way. And then she, you know, brought me, you know, like those cheap AutoZone, like the red and black terminal connectors or leads, whatever. I don't know what the hell they're called. You can see all I did was take the screw out and look at how loose this is. And same thing happens over here. But she brought me those cheap, like red and black ones, the one that you cut the wires and then you just kind of, you know, crush the wires inside the new screws, and I don't like that, okay? The good thing is from Hyundai, you could see it looks like the actual connector that goes on the battery is separate from the wires. You could see it looks like they're just bolted in right here. So I'm gonna look online and see if we could actually find this actual terminal connector, and we could simply just unbolt the wires from it and put the new connector on. So that'd be super sweet if we could find these. Yeah, she was like, well, you told me it had to be fixed the right way, so I brought you these. And I was like, yeah, that's not the right way. Do you know the way? So I got the battery out. Here's the charger I'm using. It's a Stanley unit, just nothing special. You can see it's only 1.5 amps, so it's a very slow charger, but we have time. It's gonna sit here overnight, and that'll be perfect. Give it a nice trickle charge. So let's go ahead and connect this end. You know what, I should probably move that fuel pump assembly before I connect this in case of any sparks, right? Nah, it'll be fine. It is now the next day, and I just took the battery off of the charger. We actually got our new fuel pump installed. That's the $47 fuel pump assembly. As you can see, I got my power probe connected, and what I want to do is test this pump very quickly before we slap it in the car. Okay, so nothing major, of course. There's no fuel in it, so you don't want to go running the pump for too long. I'm just gonna do a quick little blip and make sure the pump actually turns on. You got to be kind of skeptical of a $47 pump assembly, right? You know what, let me turn off the beeping sound. We should be able to hear this pump turn on. There you go, it works. It's good enough for me. Let's go ahead and pop this bad boy into the car. As you can see, we got a new O-ring or a gasket, and we have to install this float. All Alright, so the battery is reconnected. What I'm going to do is, well, the reason why I wanted the battery in first is because with the fuel tank exposed and open like this inside the car, as soon as you open these doors, just get a wave of fuel just hit you in the face, you know. So now I want to lower all these windows. It's like October 3rd, but it's super freaking nice. Today is a nice day. It's crazy how nice it is. What the heck? Only the driver window works? Come on now. Come on. Well, I'm not surprised. Come on, baby. Wrong button. The windows don't work. Rookie mistake. Come on. Come on, John. So I couldn't get compressed air out here, but I figured I could run an extension cord all the way from the house and get the vacuum cleaner over here. So that's what I did. The O-ring, the one I removed right here, and you can see all this crud around here. We want to get rid of as much as we can because it's never going to seal if you leave all that stuff like that. Alright, so that's what I have right there. You can see where the new O-ring is going to go. It looks pretty dang clean. Now sure, someone could argue, well, why didn't you do that in the first place? Honestly, I didn't even think about to pull the vacuum all the way out here. You know, it is what it is. Throw me a freaking bone here, okay? So what I did was I actually used this silicone lubricant. It's actually a really good cleaner, and I sprayed it on the rag, and I just followed in this channel right here, and every time I developed like a little pile of dirt, just come in here with the vacuum again and vacuum it up. I don't think I saw any extra dirt fall into the fuel tank, but this sealing surface right here looks really good to me now. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put the new pump in. All right, so new pump is completely installed. Everything is plugged in. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get power to it. First, I'm gonna try turn the key, which we kind of already confirmed that's not gonna work. But if I have to, I'll go directly to the relay again. And then once we could hear the pump turn on, then I'll come back here and put this rubber grommet in its place. And no, I don't hear a fuel prime, which we already confirmed the first time. If you get a DUI thing in your car, you probably should not be driving around with pills sitting right there. So I got everything set up here to put power to the fuse pump relay, and there's too much wind and noise out here. So what I'm going to do is put the camera inside the car, and I'll let you guys listen to see if this pump turns on. Alright, so that was even difficult for me to listen to when I was playing back the camera, but it did turn on. I could hear it. So yeah, that's a good thing. You know what I want to try to do? Let's see if we could bypass that breathalyzer. What I want to do is turn on the pump maybe like one more time just to build up enough fuel pressure. We'll put the key on the run position, okay? Position. We'll put the car in the run, okay? And then we'll go out there to the starter relay and we'll manually engage that, see if we can get this car running. Alright, so we have, or we should have, enough fuel pressure. Let's put the key in the run position, and another thing we want to notice is our fuel gauge is working, okay? So that tells us that the float on the new fuel pump is doing its job. Alright, so we have almost a little bit over half a tank of gas. Let's leave this right here. I got my jumper relay on the starter relay already connected. It's gonna be this one right here. So let's see if this car will start. There we go. Confirm the fix. I'm not gonna let you get the better of me. Sweet. So we found a way around this thing just to confirm that it's gonna start when the owner comes to pick it up. All right, so I got the rear seats all put back together. Everything's bolted down. So let's go ahead and use the scope to check the new fuel pump. Not that it really matters at this point, it works, but it doesn't hurt to look at it. So we got the key in the run position. And again, I'm going to use my relay jumper to go ahead and start the car. Alright. So there goes the new fuel pump. I don't see any major dropouts or anything, which I don't expect there to be because it's a new pump, but it works. Alright, so I'm pretty much done with this Hyundai. The owner could come pick it up. The last thing I had to do was put my scanner on it and clear the codes in case there was something that I may have caused myself. I'm going to go ahead and address something right now, something that someone left a comment on one of my previous videos before. Basically, some of you may have noticed that I've changed the type of videos that I'm doing. Before, my channel started off as DIY videos, right? And it's all I was doing. But I've kind of stepped away from that, and it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it. I'm still going to put DIY videos out, but you could already tell that it's not as often. I'm doing more of the type of videos of I'm bringing you along with the cars I have to deal with on a daily basis and the work that I'm doing and things like that, okay? And the reason for that is because I noticed that at this point, my channel has about 33,000 subscribers, okay? But if I put out a video, on average the video gets like 500 or 600 views. You can see that's it's not that great of a percentage versus the amount of people who are subscribed. And I think the reason why that's happening is because, say if I put out a brake video or how to change your water pump on a specific car or how to change the serpentine belt, people are like, oh cool, thanks, the video helped me a lot, and they go ahead and smash that subscribe button, but they never watch any of the future videos that I put out. So they're forever subscribed and they never watch any other video that I ever put out, and it just makes for bad odds. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather have 500 subscribers and when I put out a video I get 500 views, rather than have 100,000 subscribers and I'm only getting 200 or 300 views. And I know of channels that are like this, okay? I've seen it for myself. There are channels that have 70,000 subscribers, and you look at their videos they put up and they only have like 600, 700, 800 views. That's horrible odds if you ask me. And I really don't want my channel to turn into that. I want to put out content that people enjoy watching, and if you're subscribed, you're watching for a reason. You know, I don't want you to subscribe just because one of my videos helped you. If that's the case, just watch the video and move on. Don't subscribe. Sorry, I don't want this to turn into a rant, because it's not. It's just I'm letting people know why my video format has changed and why I'm kind of stepping away from DIY videos. So I hope that makes sense. And with that being said, that's pretty much it. So I appreciate you guys coming along for this one. It sucks that I couldn't really crank over the car. It kind of puts things into perspective, right? Not being able to crank over a car really can hinder your diagnosis, and sometimes you gotta think outside the box. But I'm glad we got this one fixed at the end of the day, and I'm sure the owner's going to be happy, especially with a $47 fuel pump. So I will keep you guys updated if this pump fails in a few months or whenever it fails, or let's just say it lasts 3 years. I'll do any updates that I can on this fuel pump assembly. With that being said, thanks for watching, guys.